This is a dime. 10 cents. What can you buy with it? Even a beggar would be insulted if you give him 10 cents. But no matter where you are in life, in Syria or in Syria, rich or poor, educated or illiterate, your life can turn on a dime, right? 5 years ago, if I was introducing myself to you, I would say, "Hi, my name is Mohammed Alsaleh. I am a medical student in Syria, on my way to becoming a cancer specialist." But today, I can only say, "Hi, my name is Mohammed Alsaleh. I am a refugee from Syria." See how your plans, your dreams, and your life can turn on a dime? Nobody knows this better than me. And the 65 million other refugees that are kicked around the world like soccer balls. These refugee numbers are increasing by 30,000 a day. And by 2040, will rise to 300 million. By the time I finish this talk, 1,000 more people will be forcibly displaced. More people are displaced today than during the Second World War. But nobody is treating this crisis on a war footing. If you put all refugees in a country of their own, it will have almost twice the population of Canada. Many people think that refugees are just opportunists, poor, unemployed, dark-skinned people living in sad conditions in the third world. They lie to get their way, to get asylum, so they can partake in the riches of the West. Nothing could be further from the truth. But before you think that refugees like me come only from poor, war-ravaged countries, let me give you the dictionary definition of a refugee. A refugee is a person that has been forced to leave their country because of war, persecution, or a natural disaster. Unquote. Thus, refugees are people that have been uprooted by external circumstances against their will from their homes, cultures, family, and friends. And when that happens, an ordinary person suddenly becomes a refugee, seeking refuge. I didn't plan on becoming a refugee. Like every young man, I had lofty dreams. You're wondering, do people in Syria have dreams? Yes, they do. My childhood dreams evolved from Superman to the soccer star, Zinedine Zidane, and finally to astronaut. I dreamt of making money, a lot more than 10 cents, looking after my mother and my 5 siblings, building a family of my own in Syria. But in my teens, I lost my favorite cousin to cancer. When they told me there was no cure for cancer, I kept asking, why not? Why not? When they didn't answer, I changed my dream. I was going to become a doctor and find a cure for cancer. By 2011, my dream was half realized. I was a 4th-year medical student, and I had already fulfilled my newest dream, to own a smartphone. I am in the central square in the ancient city of Homs. Crowds are chanting and demonstrating against the atrocities of the Assad regime. I take my phone and start filming the uprising. But suddenly, two burly policemen tackle me to the ground. Terrorist! Terrorist! They shout at me. They start hitting me on my head and on my face. With every blow, I feel a shock going through my body. I can feel my warm blood as it trickles down my neck and chest. I can see my white shirt turning red. I try to tell the policeman, I'm just a medical student, not a terrorist, but I can hardly speak because they are choking me and I'm crying in pain. One policeman tries to grab my phone from my hand. I resist. So he pulls out his gun and puts it to my head. So that's when I had to let go of the phone. Over the next 2 years, I endure unspeakable torture in overcrowded, cockroach-infested jail cells. There is so much disease around me, even the guards are scared to enter the jail cells. One time, my knee was cut up so badly that a huge, deep, bloody gash has opened up. With no other choice, I have to use my medical training and a used bandage from another prisoner to close my own wound. There were many days when I barely remembered my name. Suicide was a very tempting option, but the only thing that kept me alive were thoughts of my family. To escape from that hellhole, I used to close my eyes and picture the face of my mother and her strength as she single-handedly raised me and my 5 siblings. My mama, she's a fighter. She taught me how to be a survivor after my father died very early on. Memories of the pranks my siblings and I played on each other is what kept me amused for hours. I knew they would be looking for me. I knew they would be worrying where I was. I just wished I could see them one more time. Remember, there is no love like the love of your family. All this pain and all this suffering only because I was taking photos of the uprising, posting them online for the world to see. Little did I know that a cell phone would put me in a cell in prison. In 2013, 2 years into this ordeal, in and out of prison, I managed to buy my way out of jail. Only because my mother was able to raise enough funds by selling the family home. The only reason I stand before you in 2018 is that I got lucky. I am one of the first Syrian refugees that Canada accepted. Oh, Canada. Thank you. And you, Canadians. I love you and will always be grateful to you. My mother and my 5 siblings are still refugees. My mother, brother, and 2 sisters are in Turkey. My 2 younger brothers are in Germany. But enough about me, my family, and my phone. Let's talk about more important things. Let's talk about what you can do to give help and refuge to refugees. But wait, is it possible that one day you may become a refugee? And if so, what can you do today to avoid becoming one? Remember, 1/3 of the world's 65 million refugees have been displaced by climate-related events, global warming, rising water tables, and water shortages. Beautiful Cape Town, South Africa, is expected to run out of water next month. Right here, Richmond, BC, a major suburb of Vancouver, and the location of its airport lies just 3 feet above sea level, only 3 feet away from a disaster caused by rising sea levels. A mere 2-foot rise in sea level could sink Delta BC and parts of the Tri-Cities. That's 500,000 displaced just in Metro Vancouver. Hundreds of thousands of more lives could turn on a dime, including yours, your families, and once again, mine. Add to that war, persecution, ethnic cleansing, the nuclear threat from North Korea, poverty in Africa, terrorism in the Middle East. The list is just growing. All of that, and we are talking about a mass exodus. 700 to 800 million displaced people that must go somewhere. Our country is going to lock their borders up, build walls. Are wars not going to break out? Where are these refugees going to go? Where are you going to go? I ask you, how much more dramatic do these huge numbers need to get before this crisis gets urgent attention? There are many countries that treat the refugee crisis and the looming climate crisis as somebody else's problem. But wait until they feel the impact at their doorstep. Italy, Turkey, and Germany have already experienced this. We are in the eye of one of history's perfect storms. The refugee crisis is no longer a single cause, a single country problem. It's no longer a single country problem or a third world problem. The refugee crisis is coming to a doorstep near you. So instead of dealing with the fallout, why don't we fix the root causes? This is not a refugee problem. Refugees are the outcome of the problem. At a collective level, we should all strive to have stable governments, take care of the environment, and get rid of nuclear weapons. But these are huge problems that you and I cannot solve in one day. But what you can do today is change your perception of refugees by, one, seeing refugees differently as worthy human beings on this one big, beautiful planet. Two, welcome refugees. Care for them and treat them humanely. When you do, you will build understandings. They will feel grateful, and you will build bridges instead of walls. Number three, instead of treating the refugee influx as a problem, treat it as a solution. Germany's 1 million refugees are taking up jobs that locals don't want. Many countries need people who are motivated and would do anything to start a new life. Since the government of Canada changed its perception of refugees in 2015, Canada has taken in 40,000 refugees from Syria alone. Other countries that are holding back should do the same. My plans to become a cancer specialist might be temporarily sidelined, but that doesn't mean I can't change or save lives. Today, I work for a nonprofit that shows Canadians how to sponsor refugees. Having been one myself, I know what it takes to rehabilitate newcomers who arrive here with nothing but the shirt on their back. And I'm so happy to tell you that my own application to sponsor a Syrian refugee family come to Canada have just been approved. Guess who that family is? My own mother and my 5 siblings. Soon, my entire family will be reunited. Far from the home and country we loved, but at least we will be together again. And guess what they are doing at this very moment? They are all watching this talk via live stream. Hello, guys. I love you so much, and I can't wait to have you here real soon. From doctor to terrorist to refugee, and now to a sponsor of refugees. Just like me, your life can turn on a dime. I was lucky enough, and Canada was kind enough to welcome me. But millions of others are not so lucky. One refugee is one refugee too many. Every refugee story, behind every statistic, there is a human story of immense struggles, families torn apart, and dreams crushed. Show your humanity. Do what you can to help refugees. Change your perception of refugees. Who knows, one day, you or someone close to you could become a refugee. Who knows, one day, a refugee could still become a cancer specialist and save your life.